Now, the first thing that we did a few weeks ago when we got back from holidays, after hearing everything that was going down with the coronavirus, was making sure that we're in an okay position as landlords, because we both own some properties, we both have tenants in place for those properties, and there's potentially some changes that are going down at the moment. So in this video, we're going to unpack some tips for landlords in the current market.
These are super practical tips that you can apply right now to your portfolio to protect yourself, to get a buffer in place, and just stay safe during an uncertain time for landlords. Now, the major thing that came through, and the reason for recording this, is the government has basically said that as landlords in Australia right now, we cannot move our tenants out if they get into financial hardship for the next 6 months.
Yeah, which I like that the government's done that, even as a landlord, because I think the community matters more than money right now.
Yeah, we understand that there's a lot of people in tricky financial positions, possibly yourself included right now. We understand that, 25% of Australians are underemployed or unemployed right now. And so the government stepped in. Now, the counterbalance to that is the government's also done something incredible and unprecedented for landlords, and that is given us the ability that if our tenant stops paying us rent, we can contact our bank, let our bank know, and they can actually freeze our home loan payments for a period of 6 to 12 months as well. So if you're in that position, one of our clients, Matt, down there in Sydney, has lost 2 of his landlords due to financial hardship in the last week. He's now moving to freeze his loan so that he doesn't have to pay the interest component, and therefore, at least if he's not getting any income, he also doesn't have to pay any of the expense associated with the interest on the property, which is a lifesaver for a lot of people and the number one thing that you can do right now if you lose a tenant.
The other thing is double checking your insurance. Now, I know a lot of people that are out there trying to get insurance now. Most insurance companies aren't doing landlord insurance. So make sure that you're double checking your policy at the moment. If you're struggling to find the right policy, maybe getting in contact with an insurance broker to see what your options are.
Yeah, you really want adequate building, contents and landlord insurance in place if you can. You really want to understand your current policy and what your options are if you do lose your tenant at the moment. But like we said, worst case, you can hopefully move towards freezing your home loan.
The other thing is creating a savings buffer. You should always have a savings buffer in place, but personally myself, I didn't have much of a savings buffer when all of this went down, because I just bought my second property and I poured a lot of my cash savings into it. So what I did, and we actually shot a video about this, which is up on the YouTube channel, you can go and check it out, is dramatically reducing my expenses in my life. So over the next, I've already started doing it 2 weeks ago, but over the next month or so, I'm going to build up that savings buffer to make sure if these tenants do go into financial hardship or lose their jobs and stop paying rent, it's not going to affect me too much.
Another thing that I did as soon as I heard about the corona outbreak was sent my property manager an email with my plan for this time. And I basically said to her, if any of my tenants are expressing financial hardship to you, you have the direct authority to go and give them a 25% reduction in their rent for the next 6 months, because I would prefer to be getting 75% of my rent than none of my rent in the current marketplace. And that's extremely important. So talk to your property manager, whether it's via email or on the phone, as soon as possible, and find out what their plan for managing the downside is. Put a plan in place yourself. Your property is actually a business that you're running, and you would take strong action in your business right now. So take strong action on your investment properties as well.
What you've got to remember is, let's say that you're receiving $500 a week of rental income from your investment property. If your tenants show some sort of financial hardship and you offer them a 25% reduction, you're still receiving some sort of rent for that period of time. Whereas if you can't anymore, but if you tried to kick them out, even 1 week is so dramatic of losing that $400 or $500 worth of rental income. So make sure that you understand those vacancies and how much that can impact, because you can discount $25 to $50 per week, to make sure that you still receive that $450.
You know, if your property's coming up for lease or for vacancy at the moment, the first thing I would do is go to the current tenant, ask them to re-sign the lease for 12 months to give you security. And if they're not prepared to re-sign at the current price, potentially even offer them a slight discount. As Simon said, 25, 50, $100 a week to keep them in there. Worst case, if you can't keep them in there and your property comes up for rent, we're finding that the market hasn't changed at all. People still want to move. People still want a better life for themselves. People still want to live in better houses, in better suburbs. But because we're not allowed to go to open homes, it's having an effect on slowing down the tenancy pool. And because some people have lost their jobs, that's also having an effect. So if you are advertising your property for rent at the moment and you're getting $500 a week 2 weeks ago, now it might be a time that you're going to have to swallow your pride, swallow your ego, and drop the rent to $400 or $395. Put a 6-month lease in place just to find someone, because as Simon said, if you miss out on rent of $500 for a month, that's $2,000 versus, you know, putting someone in at $100 a week less and giving you consistency and putting you in a position where you can continue to keep your head above water, continue to pay your bills, and continue to move forward confidently. The reason I say 6 months is because I think within 6 months, a lot of the health side of where we're at right now will have figured some stuff out, and I think people will be able to go out in public, and as soon as they can, people will realise that maybe they weren't living where they wanted to, and good quality investment properties will be filled fast in the right areas.
Definitely. There's also a heap of government assistance. As Ben said, you can freeze your home loan if your tenants move out and you're in a bad financial situation. But on the other side, the tenants are receiving some great financial incentives at the moment. If they have lost their job, you've got the job seeker program, you've got the job keeper program that's coming out at the moment. So the $550 a week or the $750 a week, you know, that may not be able to pay the rent, but in places where we're investing in Brisbane, you know, that is well and truly covering the rent, and that's when you might have to discount a little bit.
You know, most people are wanting to do the right thing. Most people are good. Most tenants are as well. And most of them aren't going to take the piss at the moment.
No.
And if they do, then the Australian government hopefully should step in with a big stick and sort the problem out quickly. But, you know, most people want to create a solution. They want to keep paying you rent. A lot of people don't like losing face from not being able to deliver. So sometimes people might just need an education from you or your property manager, in the sense that job seeker, job keeper programs, they can walk down to Centrelink. Within 2 weeks, they can have payments coming in. And if you can be part of the solution rather than going, oh my God, I've lost my tenant, what am I going to do? You know, you get them bringing income in, you get a partial payment, you go and freeze your home loan. Like, you know, take action quickly, because the thing that kills people in these markets is cash flow.
Definitely.
And if you don't have a job, if 2 of your properties go vacant at the same time and you've got all of these home loans, you know, you can get yourself in a really bad financial position really quickly, which is the last thing we want to see from you. The other option is to look at this as a opportunity to improve your position of your portfolio, so you can increase your cash flow.
Yeah.
You could do that. If your rent's been low, you could maybe step it up. You could renovate. You could add a secondary dwelling or a granny flat. You could add a bedroom or a bathroom. You know, you could clean up the kitchen. You could clean up the bathroom. There's so many things you could do to make the property appeal to more people.
Yeah.
Because in this current market, good quality properties in good areas are still doing extremely well.
Yeah, exactly. I was on the phone yesterday to one of our clients, and his property went vacant on the 22nd or 23rd of March. And he had new tenants in the property by the 31st of March for the exact same price as before. So there are still people looking for rental properties, and you're not always going to have to reduce your rent, but in the off chance that you do, you've got all of these different things to keep in mind.
Yeah, for all of those people in Australia, you know who you are, that are going to buy an investment property in the next year and take advantage of these incredible market condition. Same thing, like, stay safe. Know that you can freeze your loan. Create a plan with your property manager. Increase the cash flow on the property. Choose something that's more desirable. Make sure you invest in a suburb with a vacancy rate below 2%, which is chronically undersupplied. Do smart things to improve the appeal to attract someone. Know that you might have to reduce the rent by 25% or more in the current market based on what you would have got, but know that this will pass absolutely and we'll be right back to where we were before that, which is a chronic undersupply of properties in Australia. If you look at the trend, the number of completions, the number of approvals for buildings in the last 4 years has gone down dramatically, but the population has gone absolutely through the roof in Australia. So we're coming to a point where we're getting an undersupply of property with too much demand again, which is going to mean an increase in rents over the next 5 to 7 years. All of these things that we're going through now will pass. You just have to keep your head above water, or if you're in a good financial position, absolutely take advantage of current market conditions. So we hope these little tips are helpful for you guys. Stay safe and continue to invest smartly and with confidence through this period.
Thanks.